There's this like natural inclination to like continue hustling, that when things get a little bit easy, they feel like they need to fill the ease with more work or another business or something, because they feel like they're kind of losing ground. It's like, oh, if I'm not doing this, then I can't relax.
There are a subsection of entrepreneurs that get really caught up in the excitement and the thrill of entrepreneurship and the thrill of building. They get a little bit addicted to that, and they have myopia, like they are tunnel vision on that. And so they don't necessarily stop to think about what are some of the other things they do. And one of the things that I like to do is use our ongoing meetings with clients to say, like, let's think about some of the things that really bring you joy.
A lot of owners don't want to work. They just want to know that, listen, if I'm fed up with it tomorrow and I shut this down, that I can still cover my expenses and live a good life, right? And that's where we all should aspire to get to, of like, work can be optional. You can choose to do as much or as little as you want. You can be full-time, part-time. You could be CEO optional in your business, which, by the way, increases the value of your business as well, so that you can have options to choose from and you're not tied to any one thing. Welcome back to the podcast today. I'm so excited to have my friend Anna and Nicky here. They're going to do a quick intro about themselves, but they're the certified financial planners that I trust and work with when it comes to helping my clients build wealth long-term. And it all starts with profit. So we're going to get into that from that angle. But first, let me go ahead and hand it over to Anna to tell us who she is, what she does, and the work that she does to support clients.
Thank you so much, Carla. I'm so excited to be here. I feel like I mention your name all the time because I think it's so powerful to have women who talk about money, and there's not enough of us who are in positions where we're talking about money all the time. So my name is Anna Conte. I'm the CEO and founder of Poder Wealth Advisors. We're a boutique wealth management firm based in the DC area, but we work with clients nationally. I like to say that I help seven-figure entrepreneurs with champagne problems, meaning they've reached above like the subsistence, like the scrimp and save and budget their life away financial level, and they're really looking to be intentional and strategic with how they manage their money. I work with business owners because I see the potential that they have, and they've created the success for themselves. And what they really need is someone who's going to be a strategic thought partner to help them turn that hard work and that asset that they've built into wealth for themselves. And it's just super fun to see.
So important. And yes, we want you building wealth outside of your business. So stay tuned for more on how we do that for our conversation today. Nicky, tell us about the work you do, who you work with, and what do you do these days to support clients?
Yeah, similar. I'm the CEO of Peterkin Financial. It is a small, fully virtual financial planning practice with roots in the Boston area, but I work with clients nationwide as well. And most of my clients are multiple 6- and 7-figure business owners who are just feeling like they have money slipping through the cracks. They want to keep more of the money that they're earning, and they really want help with financial decision making. They're wearing all the hats, they're doing all the things, the money's coming in the business and personally, and they're just feeling like they're not sure about what to do. It's like, which mortgage to get, how much to put as a down payment, do I buy the building that my business is operating out of or not, and all of those things that impact their cash flow and their long-term wealth building. I'm helping them with those decisions, and then we're also helping them leverage their profits into passive wealth, so like building wealth and passive income outside of their businesses using portfolios. So.
Truly passive, not the ones that pull you and you're working on and people talk about it being passive, but it really isn't. So we'll get more into that. And for those of you who haven't met me, I'm Carla Titus. I'm the founder and CEO of Wealth and Worth Within. We're a fractional CFO firm helping owners produce profits in their business so that they can build wealth personally outside of the business. So it all starts with profit. Like, I want to focus on the business owners that are in this position where maybe they're a little bit farther along their journey, they're more advanced, and they're coming to us for support on what do I do with the profits I have, which is a must be nice to have problem. But listen, if the core and foundation of your business is not right yet, that's okay. We're here to help and support that from a financial perspective and managing. But for those of you who are already there and are looking for ways to invest and create wealth outside of the business, here's the episode for you to start thinking about what action to take so that you can make that a reality and not just wait for that one day business exit that might or might not happen. We want you to be building wealth all along the journey, every single month, paying yourself, and that comes from profit. So step one is we got to get profitable. And if you haven't gone through that step yet, that's okay. Reach out for help. We're here to support you. But let's assume, okay, you are making good profit in your business, okay? And there's different ways that you can build wealth outside the business. business, because there is a point where you've invested enough back into the business, at the right level. We're still growing, producing the profits. And now you want to do something outside of the business and not just park the money in the bank account that's maybe earning you 3 or 4% interest for now, but not really think about what else could you be doing with it. So why don't you walk us through some of the strategies and things people should be considering to start building wealth now from the profits they're generating every month? And either one of you want to jump in and share.
I always like to start with, I'll take this one to start, but I want to hear what you think too, Nikki. I like to start with like the fundamentals of what are your personal goals, and then we can back into the tactics, because I think a lot of times, especially in this like social media age, folks go straight to tactics and like the sexy things. And I think the real wealth is built in a more boring bit by bit way. The first thing I do with my clients is say, like, what are your financial goals? When do you want to retire? Are you paying for kids' college? Like, are you paying for private school? Do you want to buy another house? Like, whatever those lifestyle goals are, that lifestyle need, we're really centering that. And then once we have a number about how much they need on an annual basis, because for most business owners, it's not really monthly, on an annual basis, then we can back into where are we taking that money from. One of the key ways is to look at what's the tax optimal, like what is the tax structure that you have for your business? What's the ownership structure you have? Let's say you're an S corporation. We're going to optimize for your salary based on your profit. Then we're also going to think about like, what are your retirement contributions going to be, and what kind of retirement plan is going to be most appropriate for you? And then we can come up with a plan for what are we going to do with those profit distributions and how that's going to be invested. And a lot of those are stock market. We can think about real estate. We can think about alternative investments, buying other businesses that might be related to what you do as well, just really depending on where the person lands.
Yeah, I definitely can see that map out to like what are our end goal points, walking backwards from this to make it actionable, because not everybody has the same goals, right? And it's important that we keep it to what's important to you. Might be different than what's important to me, and that's totally okay. But knowing the end goal then allows us to create that action plan to use the right tactics, to Anna's point, that maybe are even tax optimized to get us there. And not everybody likes every single type of investing strategy, so that we take into consideration as well. Nick, is that something similar to what you walk through with clients when you're helping them figure out what are they doing with all this profit and distributions they're taking home?
Yeah. I mean, goals are always first. Something that I notice is that some of my clients who their businesses are really, really successful, the money's coming in, they're moving and shaking, they feel like they could do this forever, even though they probably don't want to. They find it really hard once they've like checked the boxes to get the things that they really wanted and get the lifestyle that they really wanted. They find it hard to come up with goals. And so they're in this kind of like decision fatigue, like keeping extra cash or like not wanting to lock up any money. Like, I don't know if I want to put that in a retirement account. I don't know if I want early retirement or not. I don't know exactly what I want. And so I always try to bring it back to when we're in that situation to, okay, best case scenario, by when would you like work to be optional? And what does that look like? So we talk about more of like slowing down, or like, even if you're still full-time in your business, would it be nice to, in 5 years, have a portfolio that could be spitting off $5K a month or $10K a month in passive income, so that if you decided to say like, gone fishing, like put up the sign on the door and just close your business, no exit, no nothing, you have the freedom to do that, or you have the freedom to burn it down and start something new. And so I find that like I've run into this a lot more in the last 5 years. I don't know why, but I find many clients like who are small business owners who are really successful find it hard to articulate goals, because they don't have the like, well, I want to buy this $2 million beach house in 10 years. They don't want to buy things. So they find, and they don't want a traditional retirement. So they find it hard. So we do that kind of like, what does that look like? And kind of spitball that way.
Yeah, that's such a great point. I think there's just a point where you've reached this level of success where you're just tired of making decisions. And that is very real. I think we feel it all the time. And you can get very paralyzed by the options, the abundance of options that you can go after. And I always say like consistent and boring really gets us there. And so like the more we can just like automate, the more that we can just make it a habit and discipline, the less we have to make decisions and think, because it's just kind of working in the background while you're not even noticing, right? And money's getting invested and things are happening. And one day you become that work optional, which is really, I love how you frame that, because a lot of owners don't want to work. They just want to know that, listen, if I'm fed up with it tomorrow and I shut this down, that I can still cover my expenses and live a good life, right? And that's where we all should aspire to get to, of like, Work can be optional. You can choose to do as much or as little as you want. You can be full-time, part-time. You could be CEO optional in your business, which by the way increases the value of your business as well, so that you can have options to choose from and you're not tied to any one thing. And I love that because that really gives you the freedom to then make other kind of decisions. And I always talk to clients a lot about, okay, yeah, you might exit your business one day, and then what are you going to do after you exit? You're going to build another business? Because that's what they do. It's like they're so bored. They're like, well, I achieved all these things, I sold it and I made all this money, and now I'm bored and I want to start a new one. I was like, but you already had it. So like, we want to optimize for the right things and make sure that those goals align with your goals personally of what you want to see. And sometimes the goals can be buy the building. Sometimes it could be build a stock portfolio that yields the 5-10K of dividends. Many other ways that comes about. And is that a lot of what you're seeing with clients as well? Like this is kind of the path of work optionality we want to be given as part of the plan.
I think two things. I do see that sometimes. And so what I usually will tell clients is let's build a plan that is going to bring you closer to work optionality. And then you have choices. You have more choices, right? So like figure out, okay, what is an age that feels great for you to think, I want to have maybe a little bit more flexibility. For a lot of folks, it's like, hey, when my kids are a little older, when I'm an empty nester, I want to be able to travel. And that might not necessarily line up with traditional age 65 retirement. That is one way. I will also just say that I think that there are a subsection of entrepreneurs that get really caught up in the excitement and the thrill of entrepreneurship and the thrill of building. They get a little bit addicted to that and they have myopia, like they are tunnel vision on that. And so they don't necessarily stop to think about what are some of the other things they do. And one of the things that I like to do is use our ongoing meetings with clients to say, like, let's think about some of the things that really bring you joy. And let's think about, it doesn't have to be something big. Let's think about the memories that you want to create, the things you want to say at, when you're 90 years old and in a rocking chair and hanging out with your grandkids. Like, what are the things that you're going to want to say, yeah, I did that? Or what are the things you're going to regret saying you didn't do that? And centering our plan around that is really helpful. And I think, once again, sometimes it takes people time, but if we have a little bit of time in every meeting to say, like, let's think about some of the things we spent money on or some of the things that we did that we would like to incorporate more of. And what does it look like? What does an alternate reality look like where we have more of that? Because I think sometimes we just get real caught up in the grind and we just lose sight of that bigger picture and more meaningful things.
I absolutely see that often where we're just like, just grow at all costs, scale, like next goal. And it's like, well, at the expense of what? Right? And I'm always like, are you missing your kid's birthday? Are you like not visiting your mom or whatever the things that are important to you in your life, and not thinking about life outside of work and how work should support, like your business should support your lifestyle, your desired lifestyle as a business owner. Because it's really easy to, just work all day and night and be a workaholic because your business allows you to, and it probably welcomes it.
You probably love it.
I mean, you probably love it because you thrive in it. But, there is, life outside of work and life that you want to be living meaningfully and happily, that you look back and you're like, that was great. And then money should enable that, right? To get a little bit more like tactical here, right? What are some ways that you see, Nicky, people investing in their income, their profits of the business or their compensation out of the business to build that wealth, passive income of $5,000, $10,000 a month? And also let's talk about that whole myth around the 7 streams of income piece, because I know we have opinions about that we want to share on like how that comes about. And it's not really how the social media tells you it comes about, but really the reality of how that gets put together.
All of my clients, the reason why they're successful is because they put in the work. They worked hard. Even if they didn't burn out, they hustled, they worked hard to build their business to get everything that they have, right? They're all like self-made. They're not trust fund babies. There's this like natural inclination to like continue hustling, that when things get a little bit easy, they feel like they need to fill the ease with more work or another business or something, because they feel like they're kind of losing ground. It's like, oh, if I'm not doing this, then I can't relax. I think that like being able to manage a business is a really nice distraction sometimes. So it's like if they have an extra $100,000 to invest, many of my clients have like built rental portfolios as they've built their business because they wanted that passive income. They wanted like consistent passive income as they built, as like an escape hatch or like a safety net. So they have these rental portfolios and it's like so easy for them to like take their next 100 grand and like put that as a down payment on a property instead of like putting it into a portfolio. it feels safer because you feel like, oh, if I have control, the business is going to be successful. And if I put the money in the market, then I'm putting my future, or like I'm putting my sustainability in somebody else's hands. So what I try to bring it back to is like real life examples. Something that I talk about is that when you're investing capital to generate passive income in a portfolio, it's not just that you put money in the stock market and you have to wait 10 years or 20 years to get anything back. You have liquidity. So the same way that you could put a down payment on a rental property and start getting passive income net of whatever your expenses are, you can put money in a portfolio and start drawing passive income today. We have inheritors do that all the time, right? You get an inheritance and then all of a sudden there's your passive income. So what I try to talk to clients about is building passive income streams that they're pulling off of now and not feeling guilty about it, so that instead of having $100,000 or a couple $100,000 extra sitting in cash that's just lazy money because they're not sure what to do with it and they're feeling like they need to buy another business, it's like, okay, let's put that money to work for you, and we're proving that it's working for you because we're actually pulling passive income that's going into your bank account every single month. And guess what? You have no tenants, no toilets, you don't have an extra inbox to manage. So like, doesn't that feel good? And once you start doing that, then it's like proof of concept. So it's kind of like, you can borrow my belief, you can borrow Anna's belief that like the market generates passive income and that it grows, but sometimes you need to experience it for yourself. It's about like building and scaling passive income and not just like building a pile of money in a portfolio, but actually like using it now and not feeling guilty about it, the same way that you're investing in a business or a rental property and pulling passive income. So that's something that I try to implement with small business clients a lot, because once they see that, oh yeah, I want more of that. I love that I didn't have to look at that and now I'm getting $1,000 a month off my portfolio. How do I put more money in there?
Yeah, and they grow so much faster because they see the results and the fruits of the labor. It's like an instant reward of like, you did that and now you get this back, and you're like, oh, I can 10x that? Okay, great, let's do that. And then they're so goal focused, right? And it's like the trigger they need sometimes. And what you said about like rental real estate, like we love that as a class too, by the way. A lot of people believe in it, like they love, that, but it is managing another business. And I want to be very clear that there's nothing passive about managing another business. You're still involved. Even if you have a property management, they will still call you when the time comes to pay for the plumber to go fix the toilet. And those are decisions you have to make. And if you're decision fatigued, that's just part of what it comes with it. It could be a great way to invest and diversify as well. It's just be mindful what you're getting into, right? Because I think a lot of people are like, oh, it's just passive and you never have to touch it and do anything. That's not necessarily true. Your investments are not calling you to be like, fix the toilet, replace the roof, get this sorted out. Your investments are just yielding you. And that's one other asset class to consider as well. And I think that goes to that 7 income streams that we were talking about, where people have this fallacy of like, oh, I have to do all these 7 different businesses to get 7 income streams. And that's not really true, right, Nikki? Like how you think about diversification.
Yeah, I mean, so there's this like fallacy of the 7 income streams, right? It's like we've all seen the average millionaire. The IRS says that the average millionaire has 7 income streams. And then you have these like finance bros parroting the 7 income streams thing. And we're all trying to build these 7 income streams, right? When you're like, you don't know what you don't know. And really, the 7 income streams, 2 of them come from your business, right? Your 2 of the income streams are profit from your business and earned income, whatever your salary is. Another one is rental income. So if you have rental properties, that's the 3rd income stream. And the other 4 income streams that the IRS says that the average millionaire has directly come from an investment portfolio. Like you can open a brokerage account, open an investment account, buy an index fund or an ETF, or have a diversified portfolio, and you will get the other 4 income streams. You'll get dividends, you'll get interest. So anyway.
Anna, I think you feel the same way about that whole fallacy, right?
I do. I think that when things are hard and when you've been grinding for a really long time, it's very tempting to grab towards the thing that seems like it's going to buy you the freedom. And the thing that's going to buy you the freedom is the fundamentals. We already talked about that. But then also I think it's looking at what you're already doing and making sure that you're being more intentional about it, not just adding more stuff onto your plate. Because if you're already stretched thin or your bandwidth is already taxed, you need to just examine like what it is that you're doing and what you're getting into. I own rental real estate. I think that it is oversold as something that is like this magical, the check just clears. Like, sure, the check just clears, but there are tenants, there's property tax increases, there's vacancies that you have to think about. Like, there are just maintenance that has to be done on the property, even if everything is going to plan. These are not things that you can just ignore. And I think folks paint it to be more rosy. So what I typically will say is, if we're looking for more passive income, what we want to do is think about, first and foremost, foremost, a business that is running without you and you are no longer the CEO is probably going to be one of your highest growth assets. And it's something you're already doing, right? So you probably want to look at your business and say, can I make this more efficient? Can I have better operations and standard operating procedures to make this more sustainable for me to run long term, or for other people to step in and do some of my work? Am I at a threshold for those who are like a couple of multiple seven figures? Am I at a threshold where I hire professional leaders and I'm not doing this full time and this is more of a lifestyle asset that I own? Those are all very viable. And I think this temptation to look all over the place is a very human and very understandable one, because used to looking at your numbers and your business and operating in a certain way that you might not necessarily see some of those opportunities that exist there. And then secondarily, I think a lot of it is just boring investing. Like, instead of keeping that money in a savings account or in CDs or in your checking account, invest it. You don't even have to take the money, but sometimes it's just nice knowing that you made money. You didn't have to do anything.
Yeah,
you know,
it
the
was
S&P
working while you
500 is
slept.
never going to call you. The last thing I would say is, like, this is something I talk to a lot of my clients about, is like, you can invest in real estate without being the person to manage it, right? So like, you can invest in alternative investment, like real estate development funds. There's just different vehicles. You can invest in REITs and those kind of things. Obviously that comes with a level of risk, and you have to do a lot of due diligence, and you have to qualify based on income or assets for sure. But it is something that's available to you too. So you can still get those benefits without having to actively manage everything.
I will also say, like, Anna spoke to freedom. I co-sign everything that she just said. She spoke to freedom though. And that's something that, like, freedom doesn't just come from time freedom from your assets, or like less time spent in your business or whatever. Freedom comes from like reliability, from having some level of certainty. I am always talking to my clients about investing in a boring way. Nobody wants to hear about passive index funds or like investing in S&P 500 index funds. It's not the sexy thing. That is the most reliable way to build wealth. So we can talk about alternatives and REITs and all of these sexy things that give us the dopamine hits because we feel like over dinner, like in the Uber, when our Uber driver is asking us what to invest in, we can say like, oh yeah, I have NVIDIA. And nobody cares, right? It's like all of this, the sexy, shiny things don't always give us freedom because it has a lot of volatility. And so like buying businesses is sexy, but yeah, I mean, you don't have control over your expenses. We know historically what the top companies that make up our economy do, right? We know how they grow. We know what the average returns are. So it's like when you're investing in the boring, S&P 500 index fund kind of things, you know that you're investing in the top 500 companies that power our economy. And we know that like when stuff gets hard, they lay people off, they pivot, they leverage debt differently, they sell assets. We know how businesses behave. And so some of the freedom comes from knowing how the market behaves, even in a downturn, and knowing that it always trends up. And so I'm a proponent of like diversified, boring core. And then if you want to explore, but like lock in your work optional first.
100%.
In a tax efficient way, and then get sexy if you want to, if you feel like
Yeah.
it. If you even have the desire to at that point. Now you don't need to,
Yeah. What I hear, a lot of what you guys are saying resonates a lot with me, because that boring and not sexy is really the path to wealth. And I think a lot of people just get so distracted with the 7 income streams, to buy the business, to do the thing, to flip that stuff. And it's like so much work, and it's not giving you any better results than just sitting and not doing anything to get a good return on average. From my safety proven record historically, and continues to produce, right, a record growth for people's portfolios over time. Even when it crashes, it comes back, right? So like, we just want to make sure we have that level of certainty, because certainty brings safety. And I think like what you guys were saying about the hustle and like the working hard and doing more things, because we've always had to work so hard, that when you have made it and you're in a comfortable place, you're like, wait, this can't be that easy. I'm going to make it hard on myself again by bringing in all these variables and complexities of investment that are not needed or required, when you know there is a proven simple path to wealth. And by the way, that's a book if you guys haven't read it. Really good by Jill Collins. I love it. It's the boring, the unsexy that will get you to financial freedom. And it starts with you taking action now, investing in index fund, in the proven, and yeah, sure, some real estate too, if you want to, like Anna has it in her portfolio. I used to have it too. It was a great way to generate additional income. And I know there's a lot of people out there that break the replacement of cash flow through real estate investment. So we're not against it. We're just saying like, just go into it knowing it is work, right? Even if you have the people in place to support you, it is going to be work, and you will get get the calls. And that's all we're saying. And I think it's a really great way to diversify your income streams and like protect you from some risk, because it does not correlate to the market. At times, it moves differently. And there's that and many other ways that you can invest that we don't advocate for because they're riskier and take a lot more work, but they're also available to you. But just know those are the ones that you can rely on. Know that your money is going to be growing and giving you a good return, and that you can safely put some of your profits from your business into those buckets and know one day I will be work optional. Maybe go do the math. I was surprised. I did the math on mine and I was like, oh, that was faster than I thought. And like, it's shocking, right? You're like, just do the exercise and get through the math and you'll feel so much better and more motivated about saving.
Mm-hmm. The other thing too.
Go ahead, Nikki. Go ahead.
I was going to say the other thing too, and this probably goes to, Carla can speak to this in terms of like increasing profit. Sometimes the key way to increase profit is to simplify, right? It's like focus. When you're looking at your business, when you're looking at all your opportunities, it's honing in to like, oh, this one area is my profit sweet spot. And if I can just do more of this really, really well, without any more like mental energy, any excess resources, any extra whatever. And so sometimes when we're talking about investing in like alternative assets or real estate or other things, it's not that you won't earn a comparable return. I don't believe you will, but let's assume that you will earn a comparable return in the stock market versus in your alternative assets. The cost is distraction. The cost is the mental energy that gets taken away from your business. That's actually the cash cow. That's actually making you the money that you're then using the profits to invest. So it's reducing your profits there, and it's taking away bandwidth and energy from your family, right? Because when you're thinking about like the 5 different things and plan, the more things you're juggling on your plate, the more like bank statements, investment statements, the more whatever, the less streamlined things are. There is a direct cost in dollars and cents. It's not just like emotional stress. And speaking to that sometimes just like focus and simplifying is what drives profit. It's the same thing. That's what drives investment returns too. You can make smarter decisions, less decisions. You're not missing opportunities. It's just set it and forget it. There is a premium. There's like a return premium for that, right? On that.
Yeah, for sure. I think that distraction opportunity cost is very real. And so we want to be very mindful where we put our energy to get that returns, when you could probably be doubling down on your business and creating double the profit by simplifying. Like, why not? Because you don't even think as your business is an asset class, but it really is an asset that is producing the foundational cash that we use to then diversify and invest. So why not focus there, get it growing, get it efficient, get it producing more profits? And that's something we help with for clients, right? And simplification definitely comes into play, because sometimes they just overcomplicate the business for no reason, and we could do so much better by simplifying. But and I think you had some thoughts to share too on what we were talking about.
I was just gonna say, I think a lot of times when people are looking for that other thing, it's because or feeling the desire to like chase something else, it's because they don't necessarily know what their numbers are, whether that's in the business or personal as well. And when they don't take the time to look at the numbers, or they don't have the appropriate support, once again, on business or personal side, then they're left with this overarching feeling of like panic. And I'm sure, Nikki, you've had this situation where someone will objectively be in a great position financially, and they just feel like it's not enough. It's not enough. It's not enough. It's not enough. And I look at it, I'm like, you're fine. You're going to be fine. We just are going to make some tweaks around the edges, but the fundamentals and the foundation are here. And it's just, there's some work to be done around maybe some boundaries around things. But I find that that's really the driver. And that's one of the benefits of having some intentionality about looking at your numbers and having something to ground yourself in when you're looking at them too. So like knowing what that profit margin needs to be, knowing what my annual kind of nut needs to be, like what is that? And when you know that, then you can move intentionally and not be so worried.
I totally agree. I mean, that's what we do with our clients, both of us, Anna, is like being that second set of eyes to objectively say like, yeah, we ran the numbers. We know what the metrics are. You are good, right? Yeah. Like based on what you're telling me, based on the goals, you are good. Sometimes I see that kind of like dissonance of like the client knowing on paper that they're good, but not feeling good, is because there's like a values disconnect. And that is the hardest part, is like, we all have to get back to the real point that like money is for spending. The on paper revenue, the increased profit, the point of that is to change your life, is to make your life better, not just for like a pile of money in the bank, or like to be able to say that your business hit X dollars in revenue, right? Like the point is to fund your life. Money is for spending. And so I see clients all the time who like are solving for a goal. They're solving to like fund a maternity leave. They're solving to fund a sabbatical or something like that. And then as they're spending the money, they feel like shit about it. And it's like, oh, isn't that what this money was for? But it's like, I'm losing ground. And like the feelings, being grounded in like what your values are and what you're solving for, and making sure the metric that you're comparing your success to isn't like what you thought was successful 10 years ago and what it's actually what feels successful now. Because I think that that's like, your life has to feel as good as it looks. And I think some of the like feeling like we're losing ground and some of the out of touch and feeling like the numbers are lying to us is that what the client's telling their advisor, what the client's telling like me or Anna is different than what's in the back of their mind of like what they're actually thinking that they should be doing, whether that's right or wrong. So I think it's like always getting back to like the value, like what are my values? What does a life that looks as good as it feels as good as it looks, look like for me, and operating according to that.
Yeah, and course correcting along the time, because I think sometimes the goals can change and that's okay. And you can then redirect based on that updated goal. And it goes back to goals, right? And where you're saying about the mindset piece, like there's the action plan, but then there's the mindset that gets in the way. And I think a lot of us have to work through that mindset. Like I am the hoarder type. So if you're a hoarder out there, I see you, I feel you, I know. Like we need to have money in the bank account to sleep at night. And that is nothing wrong with that. But we also want to put it to work, knowing the principles and the foundation of good investing and can work optional. Like maybe that is your goal, or if it's not, that's okay. Or maybe spending more. Like sometimes we don't talk about that, right? Like money is to be spent in the right, responsible way to achieve the things, the lifestyle that you want to see. And we shouldn't feel bad about spending money, because as long as we have a plan and it's intentional, then you should be funding the maternity leave. You should be funding a sabbatical. You should be using the money to live the life that you want, that aligns with your values. And ultimately that happy life that Anna talked about, right? Where you look back and you're like, wow, that was really well lived. And I use money as a tool to get me there. If you take nothing else away from this episode, is to start with the fundamentals, right? We have to generate profit to begin the journey. You have to pay yourself. And again, if these are problems you have and you haven't solved for, we're happy to support you. And then what are you doing to invest in your future and your savings now for retirement? Whatever that is, there's never an age. It's just a math equation. For those of you who haven't done the math, it is just a math equation. Like it's shocking when I did the numbers and you're just like, age doesn't really matter. It just matters what you spend and how much you're saving to make sure you keep that lifestyle in quote unquote optional work years or retirement early, and working with an advisor to run the numbers, because you'd be so shocked and surprised. If you've been saving and investing and doing the work, you might be closer than you think. And it's worth going through and saying like, hey, these are my goals, or maybe I don't know what my goals are, help me. And then am I on track to achieve those goals, or do I need to do something different? Do I need to course correct and pivot to get there faster or easier? And then we use the profits of your business to power that financial plan and build a wealth outside, because an exit might or might not come, but it doesn't matter, because you already took care of the foundation by investing for yourself for the future now while you're producing the profits in your business. So let that be the takeaway for today, that we should all be actively doing the boring things that continuously get us the results we want to see. And investing doesn't need to be sexy. Investing can just be just boring and still get you there sooner than you expected. So why don't you both tell our listeners where they can find you if they want to reach out for help and run through those goals and do the math, because maybe they need a little bit of support there, where they can find you and your business. Anna, do you want to start?
Yeah, so the business website is Poder Wealth. It's PODER wealth.com. I mostly hang out on LinkedIn and Instagram. You can find me by searching my name.
Great. And Nicky?
I'm on Instagram too at Nicky Morong CFP, and my website is peterkinfinancial.com. It's my maiden name, so reach out and say hi.
Great. And if you're looking for a fractional CFO, we are taking clients. You can reach us at wealthworthwithin.com. Let's book a call to get started and talk about your support needs. We also offer bookkeeping services, especially this time of year. It'd be great to get those caught up and clean out before tax time. And we'd love to be your thought partner and business partner in making profits happen, so you can start your journey here on building work optional and options and freedom for yourself to live a happy life. Thank you for joining us for this episode. I appreciate you being a listener. Make sure you follow us and let us know what else you want to hear us talk about, because these are the kind of topics we want to be helping clients discover more information on so they can take action. So thank you for being here, to both of you.
Thank you so much.